Alec, welcome back
Yes.
to the Tarqaron podcast.
Yeah. Episode four,
Mm-hmm.
three, four.
Mm-hmm.
How many have we done of this?
12.
I don't even remember anymore. We've done 12. Okay, I
This is
believe you.
episode
Honestly,
4. This is episode 4.
episode four. We are in the month of April, after all. We're recording this, so makes sense. Makes sense.
That makes sense. We were recording this on 4/20.
We're recording this for 20. We are. Smoke them if you got them. Oh, I guess maybe it's a little too late for that. But I also don't. I also don't partake in the what do the kids call it these days? The ganja, the dank, the marijuana,
God's
smoking the
crotch.
pot. Is that really one of the euphemisms? I don't know if I've ever heard that one before.
No.
Okay. I mean, you probably could have tricked me and said, yeah, you could have totally gaslit me and made me believe that.
God's
So Zach, what's the weather been like around you?
let's talk about the weather.
Let's talk about the weather. Let's talk about. We're really gonna unpack it. I mean, it has been unseasonably warm around me, which has got me in the mood.
And unreasonably warm. Same here. It has been very warm most days. We did have a super hard raining day, and I can't do this. I can't talk about weather anymore.
Okay, that's fine. We're not a weather talking podcast. What are we kind of a podcast of,
anything
Zach?
from hypotheticals is that we don't do small talk and we don't respect people who do small talk. Remember, that was the lesson he taught us.
That was the lesson he taught us. So what are we going to dive right into, Zach? I don't. We both talked right before we started recording this. We were like, Zach was like, I'm going to be honest, I don't really have anything to talk about here. And I was like, hey, I don't either.
Usually the idea is you come with something, some current event or new stuff coming out, something like that, announcements, but I don't really know of any.
Oh, I've got something. Well, I've got a few things I think I can probably think of. Something that's a little relevant to me in my life anyway. My friend Will, he was a guy I went to college with, and he was a very funny guy. Boy, where do you even start with him? I don't remember where I first met him. I think he lived in my dorm. We sang in a a cappella group together in college. And just a good friend in college. I really liked him. He's a good guy, fun to hang out with.
Shout out to Will.
So Will was, for a time, a season of his life, was aspiring to be a stand-up comedian. I don't think he's necessarily all gung-ho about that anymore. I'm going to be honest. I sort of have been out of touch with him for a while. But during a lot of this period of his life where he was starting to do stand-up and stuff like that, several really terrible things happened to him in his life that inspired a comedy show that he actually went around the country and toured. He did, I think, like a dozen shows around the States. Might have been more. I don't really remember specifically, but how many of there were. But the show's title was Total Loss, and it's a comedy show about death. So one of the opening lines of the show is one summer, my friend Nick died, and then a few months later my little brother died, and if that sounds like a lot to put on you, I know how you feel.
Mm-hmm.
And it's an hour-long comedy special, full of transgressive, subversive, beautiful, therapeutic, wonderful comedy. It's heavy material, as you may guess, but it's all about cars. It's about cars, the cars that he drove on his road trips, and it's a tribute to his friend Nick and his little brother Caleb, who both passed away in a very short period of time with each other. And it's wonderful, and it is free on YouTube. You can go watch it right now. And in fact, I highly recommend, if you're watching this on YouTube, I don't normally recommend this, but stop this and watch it.
Don't do it.
Take an hour.
I don't
Take it.
sign off.
Zach doesn't approve. Zach doesn't approve. But I'll tell you this. I'll give you permission. I only have 35% stake in this podcast, in this channel, I guess. So I know, but it's excellent. Go find it. It is called Total Loss. If you just like look up Will Martin Total Loss, or even just probably Total Loss, you should be able to find it. It has something like when I first saw it, it had under like 1,000 views. I started watching it like an hour or two after it was uploaded, and then but it has over 24,000 views now. Last I checked, and it came out on Easter. Of all times, of course, which is interesting. But I think if memory serves, Easter was his birthday this year, so I think that might have been why. I think it might have been Will's birthday this year was on Easter. I don't remember, but yeah, I highly recommend it. And it's great. It's a great show, and I got to see it live. I didn't see that. That was the final performance of it. He has no intentions on performing it ever again. At least last I knew, it was this sort of like the final show of this sort of comedy special thing, as we want to call it. The intent was to film it in 2020. March of 2020 is when it was intended to go. I was gung ho. I was full on going to go to it, and then the world shut down. So I couldn't go. Reopened, I think it was in November of 2021, and I was unable to attend. Unfortunately, at the time it was just the timing was wrong, and I couldn't make it. So I was pretty bummed about that. But I was happy to have seen the show. I think in 2018 or 2019, I believe. I don't remember exactly when, but I did see the show in the venue that is performed in the special that's on YouTube. And so it's a very cool venue. I really like that place a lot. The Rockwell, really cool vibe there. So, but yeah, big recommendations to it. Might want to set some time aside. I mean, if you've ever had anyone close in your life, I would say that's died. It can be. It's helped me process some stuff about some people in my life that have passed away. So it's good. It's very, very good stuff. It's very funny too. If you're maybe not so much into like dark humor, black humor, there's still some stuff in there that's not as quite as dark as it can get at times, but it's good. So
cool. Big
recommendations for that.
Cool. The only thing I've watched or even enjoyed, other than the stuff we've been reviewing, because we've been reviewing, at least a movie a week, so that's been keeping me occupied. But the only thing that way back, shortly after the last Tarqaron podcast episode, I think, was when I watched A Star Is Born, and that was a movie that my girlfriend basically wanted me to watch. I wouldn't have watched it otherwise. I mean, I didn't have anything against it. It was one of those other musical movies or music-based movies that I was interested in, but
Bradley Cooper and Lady Gaga?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a remake, I think, of an older film, but I've heard extremely good stuff about that movie.
Yeah, so. I was surprised. I have some qualms with it, but it was overall a really powerful and awesome movie. I definitely would like us to review it at some point. It would be a good one. Have some good discussion out of that.
Yeah, I have heard it's good. I honestly don't really know all that much about it. So other than who is in it,
I think it was good to keep it that way. That made it better for me too. I enjoyed the experience.
Okay.
Not really knowing anything about it.
Can allow the mystery to continue then.
Yeah.
That's do that. So.
And most of my free time I've been spending with watching a lot of Survivor seasons. A lot of ones that are coming up for us too, and I'm just like in the mood, like I'm ready to get back to it. I just keep thinking about all these seasons down the line. They're like, man, I can't wait for him to see his reaction to this and this. There's just
that is kind of the fun part about like taking the breaks with Black Mirror, is that it really does. Because I've been feeling it too. I've been like really kind of wanting to get back into the Survivor spirit, and my parents have officially. I don't know if I said this. I don't think because they hadn't at the last podcast, but my parents have officially overtaken us in terms of where we are, and I've told them many times, do not spoil me, don't spoil me. And my mom is very good about it. My dad was this close, to talking about it, and my mom was like, "Stop! Don't tell him! Don't tell him! You remember?
So you have no respect for the content."
And then my dad was like, "Oh, okay, I won't." And so I was like, "Good, thank you, I appreciate that." Because when he started talking, I was like, I remember my eyes got big.
Yeah.
I was like, "No, stop!"
All right, I won, but I love this person won.
But yeah, but seriously, this guy, I think he's gonna win. So
God, there's some people that are so bad with spoilers that actually triggers me, like in my lifetime, where there was like,
my dad is really bad with spoilers
plead with
sometimes.
them. I'll be like, do not spoil this. Do not. I don't want to hear anything about it. It's like, okay, I'm not gonna say anything specific about it, but I was really sad at the end. Like, God damn it!
It's just like that's a spoiler. It's spoiling the ending.
I shed so many tears at the end. That was my favorite character.
Man, I was I cried as much.
And you go into the movie and there's like no expectation that anyone's gonna die, and it's like, God damn it.
That's like, that reminds me of the one of my favorite Pro CT videos, which is the you know Vegilo? Yeah, he shows up in like chapter 3. Well, no spoilers, but let's just say don't get too attached. Oh, so he dies though. Okay.
I hate these people. Like, I just banish them from my life, you know.
Okay, so I had Dubs is one of Dubs' roommates in college. Actually, was straight up that guy. He was the no spoilers, but don't get too attached kind of guy.
God damn it.
I was like, why would you do such a thing? What is wrong with you? Why would you ever do that?
I mean, same with like the similar vibes, not as bad, but similar vibes to people who are like, oh, this next scene, this is my favorite scene coming up here, or like, oh, man, this is a sad scene coming up here, man. This is a big one.
Oh man, this is real. This is great. This is a great scene. This is a great action scene. It's a fight after this scene.
Oh, man, this one was shocking. This
gets me going. Yeah, you got to pay attention right now. You got to see this.
Like, always, my whole life I've used spoilers, and like, it's a sacred thing. You gotta respect these people. I get to some extent like certain things where it's like, it's been years. You should have watched it by now. But it's like, come on, so many things on this channel, were years behind on, and if I had just gotten it spoiled, it would have been like, that would have sucked. And I've just lucked out that I've not gotten spoiled certain things.
Yeah, I think I do. I seem to do a pretty good job of like tuning certain things out. I don't know what it stems down to. I can tell you this: the first thing I remember, I think the first time I remember it being really, really aware of just how bad spoilers were, was when I had a friend in elementary school who Ocarina of Time was out, and we were. I don't remember if we had owned it at that point or if we had just rented it a few times and we hadn't yet picked it up. And I think I somehow spoiled for my older brother, this was the game he was the most excited for. I spoiled that Sheik is Zelda. And he was so upset at me. He was so mad, and I was like, I couldn't really understand it. And he just sort of, because I was like, what, like 7, 8 or something? I just didn't really get it. I was like, I don't know. It's like, what's the big deal? And it was like, oh, okay, I get it. Like, it's like a story thing that like, people don't like that being spoiled. And I think it was like from then on out, I became like way more sensitive to that sort of thing.
Yeah. And I think it's a mark of a good person that you are sensitive.
Because I think of like stories and things that I was really excited about knowing things about, like Harry Potter, for example, which we've been reviewing on the channel quite a lot. We've been going through that series, but there's I should. It's been 15 years, man. It's been so long.
Not in the face of the morality of spoiling things, are you gonna now spoil something? You wouldn't do that for the listeners.
If you're watching this video and you don't know anything about Harry Potter, I would recommend pressing mute for like going down to the links and skipping ahead maybe a little bit. of the timestamps. But Dumbledore, right? Okay, the end of Half Blood Prince. That was like a big thing where people at the midnight launch of that book, because that was also a thing where people used to go to a bookstore at midnight and pick up and like stand in line for a book. I did that twice. I did it twice, and it was so awesome. I loved it. It was the coolest thing to be able to get to do that. And yeah, I went to the midnight like launch of those books, and apparently some people who got the book early had skipped to the end, had read bits of it, and then were going around and shouting it to people in line. And I was like, I cannot believe someone would have the gall to do something like that. That was fighting words for me. If you do something like that, like
those are evil people.
Those are yeah.
Truly
I actually think those are evil people. Yeah.
That just reminded me of when we went to see The Force Awakens in theater. People
No!
Coming out of the theaters, the first thing we hear is, "Do you think Han Solo is really dead?" Like, he's not really.
No, I would be like, what is your problem? Wait till you leave the movie theater before saying that. That is like a thing between me and my family. Like, we don't start talking about the movie until we're like well out of earshot of the theater. That's like.
But that was like my fear. Like, I haven't been to theaters and those kinds of like releases in a long time, but that was always my fear. You go in like, and there's huge groups of people waiting who could have potentially seen it already and spoil something there. There's huge groups of people coming out of the theaters who, like, you have to trust that they're courteous enough not to be talking about it. And it's like, oh god, there's so much potential for spoilers to be thrown out here.
So you think Han Solo's really dead? Wow, that's horrible. I would have been livid if I'd heard that. I would have been so mad.
Yeah, it was like actually affected me, and it's just a nice. It's always been a thing I've been cognizant of, and especially with Survivor now, it's like I'm trying to be very good about not spoiling anything. But the thing is, I can't control other people, so that's my biggest
fear for me.
That's my fear, because it's like, all right, well, it's out of my hands, and I can only.
Hey, I'm just along for the ride. I really like the ride, and so I'm not going to look stuff up about it because I just want the ride to continue. I don't want anything to spoil. I don't want to see a coming attraction. I don't want to see coming attractions. I'm enjoying the ride. Right here, right now, what it is, and I don't need to know what the future holds. I like being in the seat, just being taken along.
Because it would break my heart for me and for the people watching along. It's like, I know there's these big moments and certain things people are looking forward to, your reaction. So if we were to come up on that, and it's like, all right, just so you know, he already knows this is gonna happen. It would really take the wind out of the sails. It's like, well, we're here for the experience. It's a unique journey here you don't get to do often with like a show that has that much history, and I want to make the best of it. And just like thinking about, wow, there's awesome stuff like 30 seasons from now, like how are we gonna get there? I get to get there without this getting spoiled. It's like,
I don't know,
I can't control the outside factors, so
yeah, only so much of that you can really.
So it's like, yeah, there's always fears of when certain seasons or certain seasons in the future, where they'll have like commercials that reference things from past seasons, or it'll be like, or it'll show like a winning moment or things like that, or it's like blatant spoilers. That it's like, the show itself is like, well, the show's been on since the year 2000, so we're gonna acknowledge our history and stuff. But it's like, if you just get one commercial, it's like, boom, that ruins the whole thing. I'm like, ugh.
Isn't that wild? We're approaching a 25th anniversary of this show. That's crazy.
Yeah, and they're on the 44th season right now. So.
Yeah, that's wild. That's so wild.
But so yeah, like we said, it's nice having the break, but at the same time, like, there's so much good Survivor on the horizon and beyond that I'm like, man, I want to get more Survivor too, because it's not like, oh, we just have 5 seasons left. It's like, there's a lot.
There's a
Um,
lot. There's a lot. We could be doing this for many
I don't
years.
want to. There's no part of me that wants to rush. Like I didn't want to. I wouldn't have wanted to rush Panama. That was a good experience, and there's seasons coming up that are like you wouldn't want to rush, but there's still,
Mm,
it's like
yeah.
getting there without being spoiled. It's an ongoing challenge. But
Yeah,
but it's nice to think about. It's like whether you like certain seasons along the way or not, there's still, I can tell you, like 30, at least 30 seasons ahead. There's still stuff to look forward to. It's not like you get
sure. I mean,
tired
and
of it
that's
after 10 seasons.
right, but isn't that really exciting, right?
Yeah.
The fact that the show is still like good after all this time, that there's still
Mm.
things to like enjoy, and it doesn't feel like it's getting tired or anything like that. I think that's cool, and I'm glad that it's still extremely successful.
Mm.
Um,
And I mean, there's
so
definitely things that we'll get into. There's like so many different things and how they change stuff. Obviously, it's not going to be the same
right,
every season and like 20 years later, but there's just a lot I'm looking forward to personally. And as
yeah,
like a super fan watching some seasons that I had missed, because I had a chunk of seasons that I had never seen, that I just watched a ton in a row. I binged a bunch, and I'm like, man, I love
mm,
all these seasons. This is gonna be a great stretch of seasons here, where it's just great stuff and great moments in each one. But
yeah.
yeah, Survivor's like really a special show for me, so I'm glad I get to share that with you.
Yeah, I'm glad it's something that we're able to talk about, and
And we'll be able to tell
yeah,
our
like I
kids
said,
one
I
day.
mean, yeah, I watched that Survivor show. I don't know. I'm telling my grandkids, I guess that no.
You had kids at an old age.
If I ever have any, we'll see. We'll see what comes. Come what may.
We'll see if you
It's not May yet, but
right.
I mean, okay. So
On the topic of children.
on the topic
Do
of
we want children?
that,
Do you want children?
that's a big question.
If I were to
Um,
give you one now, would you take it?
Now, absolutely not. Absolutely not. This is like a danger zone for children. I would never do such a.
What do you is like having children? Is that like a necessary or like important goal for you in life, or like a milestone kind of thing?
What is that's just got real deep real quick. I would say yes. Um, I think that I think that there's a lot of steps and a lot of things that have to happen.
It's a lot.
Bef-
What was that? It's
I
all.
agree. It's a lot.
It's a lot.
Yeah, I agree.
It
It's
is
it's a lot. It's a lot. I agree with what one of my housemates said loudly outside. It is a lot. It's a lot. There's a lot that has to happen in order to get there for me.
Right.
And I was discussing this on another episode. It's another thing we were talking about where I was talking about like where it was in our talking about the Hang the DJ episode where it's like I'm at a season of my life where I don't think that's not in the cards for me right now. We'll see how this goes, how this season of my life goes. I don't know. Maybe at some point I'll determine maybe it's just not going to be in the cards for me in general, and I just accept that. Yeah, as of now, I think that's a good goal to have still there. But I'm not. I'm not going to like. I'm not going to continue spending my life wanting that to happen so badly that I miss out on enjoying the things that I have now,
Hmm.
and enjoying the time that I have currently. Yeah, I mean, yeah, obviously, in order to have children, I need to have a significant other in my life, and I'm somebody who is a fairly traditional person, and I would want to be married to that person before I start having children with them. All kinds of messy reasons as to why I think that's important. Like religious reasons aside, I think that like it can just get tough and messy if if that's not established first and foremost, I think. But I'm not in a point in my life or in a period of or an area of the country where I feel like that's ever gonna be the case. I mean, I've exhausted, like literally, I am exhausted by like dating culture and all that stuff. I'm just tired of it. I'm sick of it.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I'm content with spending my money how I do now, and not having to spend it on like
Right.
dates or I almost said child support. I don't have to spend it on dates or getting married or on children at the moment. And I don't know if I want to segue as hard into a certain topic
I mean,
as I would like to, but
I'll say that
which is
I say that I have always said I didn't have any interest in children, and I was always like, I have a lot more of life to experience myself as an individual, and like yeah, I'm not even a fraction of what I want to do with my life before like having it mostly the responsibility of children like taking up most of that, because people say there's a lot of, obviously most people who have children, they say it's like the most rewarding thing, you get so much out of it and all this, but obviously you're not just living for yourself anymore, you're living for this person even more so than yourself at times, and so you lose a bit of your individuality there. So I think it's important for me to do certain things before then, and like check off more things on my list. But I told my girlfriend, like, after meeting her, like that definitely opened my eyes to wanting to have kids with her, but not like I'd never thought before that I would have any interest in that. So it's just interesting. Love does something to you, It opens your eyes to that possibility, but still, I'm not like, I don't want to have them like next year. I'm definitely not ready for that.
Right.
I have a lot more to do.
Yes, right.
It's just no longer something where it's like, no, I don't want that. Now I'm like, yeah, I probably will have them.
Well, open to the possibility.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's
when it's time. Once I've done what I want to do as an individual, and us as a couple, like getting to enjoy being a couple. That's not just all about how we're gonna take care of this kid or these kids, like, and it's just
right. You deserve time together without children. I think that's every couple is different, right? Some people want children right away. Some couples just want children right away, and I think that's perfectly fine. But I think that as two grown adults, you have every right to either want or not want children, and to spend as much time of your married life before them together. I think that's or not even necessarily married life, but just your life in general together, spent without children, I think is that's your prerogative. It's not really my business. That's like one of my things that I always sort of think about when people. It's a bigger topic we really don't have time to get into, nor do I have the energy or care to get into right now. But I know there's a lot of people that are judging others for having children because we have this all kinds of surplus population, global warming, all this sort of thing. But it's like, that's not really your business. If I'm being perfectly honest, that's not your business whether or not someone else has children. If you feel a moral prerogative to not have children because of XYZ reasons, go for it. Right. That's absolutely fine. Totally admirable. You do you, friend. Do not tell other people's what to do. That is like a core rebellion of my being. Do not tell me what to do, because I will just refuse. Yeah. And basically, like everything in my core tells me to just. I'm not listening to you. I'm doing the exact opposite of that.
I'm gonna go have so many kids now. I'm gonna have 15 kids. One every year that she's still able to have kids. So here we go. Let's go. Part of what I'm getting at is like, would you if you found someone you really liked, would it be like a deal breaker one way or another if like they wanted kids or didn't want kids, and
I
like in what
think
time frame?
yeah, I think uh I think it would be a deal breaker if they don't want kids.
Hmm.
I think like period. Um, I think it's too important. I think of that's a big deal breaker. I think for any relationship. I think that's such a because it's not saying your mind can't change because I think it absolutely can. People do, but I think if you are in a relationship long enough with somebody, um, and there doesn't seem to be any indication of that changing, I don't think that's going to work long term. I don't think it can work long term because there's always going to be an aspect of each other's lives that you feel like you're holding each other back from, and that is bad for a couple. I think to experience. I think that's unhealthy. But I don't know. At the same time, I'm not fully. I think I'm not fully decided on it. I think ultimately it is a deal breaker, but whether or not is a deal breaker for me in the sense that like am I only ever going to ever just want kids? I can't tell you that right now.
Hmm.
Because it might be the case where I meet somebody that I'm completely, utterly, stupidly in love with, ridiculously, so much so that I would be willing to spend my life with them without that.
Hmm.
I have I have two nephews and four nieces from one brother. That's a lot of children. Power to them. They're doing a great job raising those kids, and our family name is being we have two boys, so there you go. The Jones line. There you go.
As long as you get those boys in there, that's all that
As
matters.
long as you get those boys, that's all that matters, right? So I mean, my pressure's off me there, So,
To continue the
but
bloodline, yes.
yeah, except they're going to be Southern boys. That's going to be the weird part about that. They live in Virginia,
Oh, that's no good.
so yeah, it's no good. They're not Yankees. They're not Northerners. They don't know what it's like. They don't know how difficult it is. So yeah, I guess I don't know. I like to think that kids are an end goal, but you may be correct in that whoever I meet might change my mind in that regard. So I don't know.
Hmm.
But
I mean, along those lines, would you, if you were like, you said you don't, it's not really a priority yours right now, but if you were to find someone, would you be, is it like a thing for you that the next person you are in a relationship with, you want it to be a long-term thing, or would you be fine if it's like a short-term relationship, or it's not like,
I'm getting this relationship questions.
yeah.
I would want the next person that I'm with to be the long term goal. I mean, I'm I'm sick of small dates. I'm sick of just getting to know people. I'm
Hmm.
tired of it. I'm 31. I I am not getting any younger.
You're the back half of your life.
I'm in the back half of my life. I sure hope not. I I mean I'm getting older. I'm not like ancient, but I'm in kind of a weird middle position. I'm not in my 20s anymore. I'm not as old as if I was in my 40s, but I'm not as young as I used to be. And so I think for me to feel that like I don't have time for games anymore. I don't have time for playing around within that sort of deal, which is like that's one of the reasons why that's one of the reasons why I've sort of like hung my hat, so to say, in that regard. I'm just like
You
I just
retire
don't
from the game.
I I don't like how reliant on apps everything is these days. I don't
Hmm.
Most of the people in the area that I live in do not share the same like social values that I do. And the ones that do, their personalities don't click with mine. Where the interests are too different. And there's no like you, you can. I feel like you can make separate interests work really well if your chemistry and your dynamic ekes out and works. And I feel like there's people that I've talked to, that I've gotten to know, that I've enjoyed their company, and I have, there's some of them that I've been very, very fond of, and like could see myself with long term. Could see myself marrying, but they didn't feel the same way.
Hmm.
And that's been the case for most of my life. Which is the basically everyone I've ever been like majorly interested in is not interested in the same way in return,
Hmm.
or is just totally unattainable. I guess I don't know if unattainable is the right word, but they're like,
Right. I mean,
so.
that was my whole life until this relationship. I didn't have any relationship experience, and it was all like, unrequited, not reciprocated love. Well, not really, not any love. It was just, I liked this person, and they just didn't like me back. It was never anything deep until this relationship, and it changed a lot. And it was like, wow, I felt so hopeless, like 2 years ago. If I had told myself, I would be in a relationship, and with the woman I'm with, I would not believe it, because she's out of my league in every definition, right? It's just like struck gold, but it happens, and people would always say, oh, you'll find the one, and I never believed it. I never believed it. Was like, I don't see it happen. I haven't had any success like so far, and it just happens, and she's one where it was just our personalities, our sense of humor and stuff would work really well together. We get along really
Mm,
well. In terms of interests, we didn't have that many. We don't have that many interests in common. Like, we'll watch movies together, we'll play games together. But she's by no means like a gamer. She'll play
mm,
like Mario Kart and Mario Party, more casual games like that with me. But it's like I always thought, like, when I was looking for someone, I was like, oh, I would love someone like a nerdy girl, someone who's into the same kind of stuff as me. And it's just like, no, it's sometimes not the person you're expecting is the one that comes in to really change everything. It's like,
mm.
that was big for me. It's like, okay, we were very different. We both appreciate the arts in certain ways. Like, she's a professional dancer, and
Right.
and I was in like radio, TV, and film in college at the time, so we
Hmm.
connected on that. But it's like obviously very different fields and very different interests. It was all online communities and YouTube and all this, and yeah, it was just
Yeah, interest. It's true that interest really only gets you so far, um, and that's why it's like, to me, that's interesting only to this extent of like that helps you find a connection to get to know them. You can't not have, you can't not, you have to have some shared interest. I think I
mm-hmm.
feel like if there's no interconnectedness, that there's no like area that you can relate to. And
Yeah,
I think that like if you have such a strong chemistry together, you can work through that. You can find that shared interest because of that chemistry. Like that's like the most important thing.
yeah,
Um, somebody who can just be your friend. Like
for sure.
that's what like a lot of that's like what a lot of that's kind of one of the problems that I have with apps and stuff. It's forced so much on physical attractiveness, and like, don't get me wrong, I'm somebody who's I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I'm not slightly shallow. I'm sorry, I'm a guy. I know that's a stereotype, that we're very like our eyes are the determination for what we're interested in and attracted to. I can't deny that that's a obvious thing that I am interested in. Someone who is attractive physically. That doesn't mean that that's like there's a wide range of physical attractiveness. Like I'm not I'm not like I'm totally desperate, but I'm also not somebody that is like I need somebody who's like a flawless 10 out of 10. You're a supermodel.
Mm-hmm.
You're on the magazines, or you're a big old boobala hanging out. I don't need anything like that. That doesn't mean anything. I mean, to me, there's so much that goes into like physical attractiveness that like I like I've had this conversation with I had this conversation with friends who was like, I just really like girls. I just like women. I just like the female form,
What can I
and I
say?
think that like what can I
I like
say?
women.
And it's just like there's a large range of attractiveness, I think, in my regard. So like yeah,
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie, there's a significant part of that. But when that's like the only real thing, it's like that and personal interests are like most of the things that like most like dating apps are all about. And
right.
it's like those only get you so far. You have to actually have chemistry with that person. You basically have to find a friend that you can spend time with. Because if you want to spend the rest of your life with, if you're not friends with them, how are you going to spend the rest of your life with them and not want to kill them all the
Yeah.
time?
I mean,
Um,
yeah, with me, the dating apps never worked. I was like, it would be like, oh, I see you like The Office too. Sweet, you know? You would connect on, like, I would latch on to, oh, this person likes Death Note, you
dope.
know?
Oh, how the turntables. It is your birthday. Stanley reaction gif. It's just like God.
Yeah, will you be the Pam to my
Will you
my
be the
gym?
panda, my Jim?
Absolutely. But
Ay, ay, ay.
I would say
Yeah.
it's interesting that yeah, the most success stories I've heard of from like long distance relationships are not from apps. I haven't heard much success from apps. It's like just meeting online, just through like happenstance, like communities or
Mm.
whatever it may be. Like that kind
Yeah.
of online.
Well,
Like there's a few success stories of that I've heard, but
yeah, there's definitely that. I mean, I will say one of my brothers met their wife through eHarmony.
hmm,
The only problem with eHarmony is, well, I don't know if it's quite as good as it used to be. Um, I
hmm.
met, let's just put it this way: I met my ex through eHarmony, so
So
necessarily
not
have the
good.
I don't necessarily have the most positive memories of that experience.
Hmm.
And yeah, I don't know. It's also really expensive. Like
Hmm.
stupidly. It's like paying for a matchmaker almost. Like that's kind
Right.
of what eHarmony feels like. It's like you're just straight up paying for a matchmaker. That's why we're paying whatever however much money it is for 6 months for a matchmaker. It's not gonna happen in a day. You have to let us drip feed you this information. It's just like I've been waiting for many years of my life.
And I mean, those kinds of the dynamics of those apps can be pretty brutal sometimes where it's like
That too.
it's
Yeah.
like I'll have one conversation where it's like, oh, this is going well, all right, like I could see something happening here, and then just gone. The ghost
Yeah.
you. This is just how people are,
They're gone.
you
Well,
know.
it's like that happens um because they're probably also talking with other people,
And they like
and
they
then they
find
were
one
just
just
more
better,
interested in
yeah.
someone else. Yeah. Yeah. Someone that's more aligned to them. And it's like,
So and it's yeah, it's hard.
yeah.
They just kind of have to ditch you on that and this thing. All right, well, cool. It's like you feel like you keep restarting and you're not getting anything going, so it can be frustrating unless you're uh, an overly attractive person or uh, like women are just gonna get a lot more responses, so good and bad.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Yeah.
they get a
Yeah.
lot. They get the pick of the litter, just obviously a lot more other challenges involved with that, where it's just like freaking people who don't know boundaries and are just super horny and not respectful. Like they have to filter through that to try to find someone good. But you know,
Yeah, that's one thing I think about sometimes where I'm like, man, I can't even imagine the amount of like weird people that these women have to like deal with on these apps. And it's like you don't want to obviously draw attention to it when you're like, "Hey, I'm not one of the weird ones.
yeah,
Talk to me." But you just have to imagine like how many strange people. Okay, I've been avoiding this for a while, but now I'm thinking of strange people. Some of the strange people that I've met, and by met I mean encountered. There's some strange people VTuber fans are unhinged.
Mm-hmm.
I if you follow me on Twitter, you'll if you see my replies, you'd be like, boy, Alec, you sure are talking. You sure do tweet a lot, and you say a lot to that one individual
Mm-hmm.
VTuber. Yes, I do, and I'm very fond of this individual. But the things that I see people post, so there's a small VTuber corporation. You may have heard of VTubers. I talk about them every so often on this channel. There's a small corporation. They're small in the sense that like Hololive, which is the big monolith, the big one. You've probably heard of somebody in it if you have been on the internet. You've probably heard of Garagura, for example. Hololive members have hundreds of thousands to millions of subscribers on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
The most subscribed to VTuber in this company has over 200,000. I think she may have reached over 250K. I don't remember. Everyone else is under 50,000. So it's small. It's a much smaller community. And with it being so much smaller, you see a lot more unhinged wild stuff because you can actually follow chat during their streams. There are people that come in there and say things that I wouldn't have imagined saying to any individual in my daydreams. Like things like I love you, my dearest one.
Right.
Or
My sweetie.
or like, yeah, my sweetie, my beautiful babe. My beautiful darling babe. I can't believe I love you, my little songbird. You are my beautiful darling. And like people will come in there and just say weird stuff, and I'm like, do men think before typing? Ever? Is there any? I don't know how old you are. I can guess that you're either probably like 17. You could be 67. I don't know. There's a big I don't know what the thing is there, but I feel like I just see so much weird nonsense from people
Right.
that just show up in these chats, and I'm just like, man, someday you'll learn how to talk to a lady. It's not like this, I'll tell you that. Like I feel you, man. I'm lonely too. I get it. I get wanting to spend time, hang out with some very cool girls and talk to them, and they'll talk back to you. That's great. That's fun. That's nice. They're not your girlfriend. So you just have to understand that.
Mm-hmm.
That at the end of the day, even if they're providing an experience that can sometimes feel that way,
Right.
the girlfriend experience, that's kind of a
Yeah.
no.
But it's like, yeah, you can't force anything. Like you hope with the apps it's hard because it does feel very like artificial a lot of times. You're latching on to certain things you can. That's why I tried when I was on those apps to just like make a funny comment, not be like straight up like pickup line or like go hard in the deep end there out the gate. Because I'm like, well, people are gonna have all these people saying one thing or another, or like just complimenting them out the wazoo. So if I'm just like show my personality a little bit, maybe that'll work out. And you just gotta hope. You don't go overboard. But
It's just like, yes, yes. I'm so glad I joined this chat so I could speak with you. I've been watching you for a long time, and I'm glad I get to join a stream for the first time. I've actually hold on. I sometimes I say I'm to see if I found any. I've saved any of the cringy ones. I will keep. That's the weird thing, right? Like where people think that like weird lines or like strange things that they say will be like, I gotta be memorable, right? It's like I gotta be memorable. I gotta oh my god, this is so stupid. So it's not even really that funny. I love it. Some comment on one of the videos. Hello, beauty. My name is Stitch. I alien. I hear. I want protect humans and Earth from enemies. Nice to meet you. and their username is Stitch Alien 626. I was like, oh, there you go. That's great. That's beautiful. So yeah, so
Beautiful.
there's people like that. Yeah, I guess I don't have any of the cringe ones on. I don't have any of the cringe ones on here.
Right.
Um,
I mean, there's a lot of cringe out
but
there in the world. I remember
God,
like
so much cringe.
on Twitter's account where there's like people down tremendously bad, and it's just like really cringy. Mostly like text conversations that are like, oh God, have some respect for
Oh,
yourself.
yeah, have some respect
Where
for
it's like
yourself, man.
this girl telling this guy about, oh, I'm going out on a date. I hope it goes well, and I might get lucky tonight. And then
LOL.
the guy's like, oh yeah, man, good luck, have fun. I hope you enjoy it. And like, and then they'll like she'll text him afterwards, like, oh yeah, it was so nice. It's like, oh yeah, I'm so happy for you. Ooh, ooh.
Okay.
There's just a certain breed out there that I can't relate with.
Is
But
a certain
I will say when
yeah,
we're
you can
talking
say that
about
again.
I meant to mention this earlier when we are talking about like when I was looking for, I thought I would always want someone who had the same interests, or was like a nerdy girl, or whatever.
Mm,
And there's always got to be some commonality, like you said. There has to be something there. You can have nothing in common, but it's
mm.
so for me and my girlfriend, it's mostly that we can enjoy like movie nights at home, but we also both like doing things like adventuring, like road trips, or we'll want to do like date nights, or go out and do stuff. It's not like,
Yeah.
and we'll
Activity
usually,
level.
yeah, do like a lot of quality time. It's a big. We took the love language quiz, and that was our biggest one. Even though I like find a lot in all the love languages that I relate to. We're both big affection people too, but like quality time was our number one, because we just value that. We like having fun, going on fun
You're
dates.
you're preaching to the choir here, man. That's my. I mean, we talked about doing that at some point on the channel. I don't think we really need to. We can talk about it right here. My primary love language is also quality time.
Hmm.
I it realizing that, like, understanding that fundamentally is like, it makes so much sense with every aspect of my life. Why, like, from when I was a little kid, it makes complete sense because I was an extremely lonely kid in elementary school. I went to a very small school, small private Christian school,
Hmm.
and my best friend in fourth grade told me he didn't want to be friends with me anymore, and I didn't have friends for like 2 years, and it sucked. It was miserable, and that's why like that's why spending time with people, that's why like loyalty are like, that's like the two biggest things, like biggest things that I pride myself on, and like that, the loyalty really feeds into that quality time thing, because like it's why I will just drop stuff to be with friends. It's like, sure, I'm not gonna always be on time. I'm terrible about that. Zach, you can attest to that. I'm awful with it, but I don't go back on my word with people. I do not, um, and if I do, I own up to it to make it better to them. And I do not turn I don't turn my back on my friends. I will never do that, and I never want to do that. And like like that is just, that's so important to me. Just spending time with people, like my memories of like hanging out with people, I don't necessarily remember any of the conversations or the words that occurred between a lot of us. I just remember, yeah, I spent time with them and I had fun. That was what was the most important part of it to me. Um, and that's like, to me, that's like how, that's just how I show love to my friends. That's how I guess I think to me, it's just, it's the way I feel most valued in terms of how, because I want to I'm trying to think of like how to describe it, but like it is so important to me specifically in order to like feel loved, I guess. And that's also the way that I feel like is the most important to me to show it also. That I'm spending time with the person, is like time is the most valuable thing that we have for me. And if I'm failing at doing that, I feel like, okay, here's an example. We'll bring it back to the VTuber thing. This was something that I realized that was because it was bothering me. I work remotely. I don't work I mean remotely in the sense that like I work out in the field. I'm driving around all day. I am interacting with customers. I am sometimes out in the middle of nowhere where I don't have cell service and I can't tune into my favorite VTuber streams. Sometimes it'll just cut out and I can't, and it was legitimately bothering me like a lot. And I couldn't figure out for the longest time. Like I was like, why, like, what does it matter so much? Like I can always just watch the VOD later and like, uh, but I realized like it was just like a couple days ago. I realized it was like it's because, dude, come on, you know this about yourself. Quality time is like the most important thing to you. That's how you show love. That's how you feel love. And it's like if you can't, and it was like if you're not spending that way with someone who you really really have a high amount of affection for, it's like it sucks. It feels bad and that's never going to go away. That was like something that was like you're just going to have to live with it and get over it because like that's not going away for this particular aspect of your life. Because you have way too much like involvement in that, like that's how you process everything when it comes to love. Like that's why like you get bummed out. This is me talking to myself. That's why you get bummed out when you can't spend time with your friends at D&D, or that's when you feel like you're being left out when they're doing something without you. That's why you feel like there's all sorts of things that feed into it there. And yeah, I mean it's just like it's just always like a constant reminder that like yeah, that's really important to me.
Yeah.
And it was something that was also really funny that I realized that I was like, huh. And I just picked my username, my classic Chronolink username, just on a whim, and yet it fits so well. It fits so well. The time travel, it fits so well. So yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I felt that I definitely feel the same way being single like my whole life until now. It's like it definitely weighs on you, and you can only realize. I realize that once I'm in a relationship, that's obviously the outlet where that goes to, and you're able to process things better because you have that person to spend the time with. But and I'm by no means am I an expert on dating still, because even the girlfriend I'm with, we started out as friends, best friends, so it was like an organic thing. And I mean, I lucked out that we happened to work together, and I mentioned that I had like a traumatic thing I went through a couple years ago, where it's like all my friends left me because of something that wasn't true. I lost my whole social circle basically. But it's like ironically because of that, I ended up at the place I was in order to be able to meet her. So it's like in some ways I like to think that things happen for a reason. Maybe it's just me justifying things in my head, but it's like this horrible thing happened that I had to go through, but it was worth it to me just because of where I ended up. I was able to meet someone who like impacted my life in a much bigger way, And even now I don't have many friends that I interact with. I don't hang out with any friends right now at all, and it doesn't bother me at all because I have her, and it's like it's not as important to me as even a year ago. We spent a lot of time with like friend groups and stuff. I do like that stuff. I do want to get back to that, but it's just I don't. It obviously it takes a certain weight off of you not having to like worry about am I like being sociable enough or not.
Yeah, keeping up with everybody sort of.
Yeah.
I mean, I about this whole thing, I feel the same way that you do in the sense that like I almost feel like, because I feel the same way in the sense that like I think everything happens for a reason. I know in your regard, it's not necessarily a religious thing. It tends to be for me. because that's just how I process. That's just how I was raised, and it's just how I process things best. So, but like I think that I feel like weirdly that like I the last like 2 months that I've been involved in with this small community, this small company, has been like some of the happiest I've ever been. And like that might be sad to some people, that it's like, well, you're spending time with people who, well, first of all, people will say, oh, they're not even real, and it's like, okay, they are playing characters to a degree, but they're real. They're real people for sure. And there's no like you can't. There's only a certain degree at which there's a character that's being played. There's they're putting themselves out there in the world for whatever reason, and like to me, it being as fulfilling as it is, if this is all I have left in terms of this, that sounds really weird, but if this is all I have left in terms of like what I can do with my time for like other women, I guess, it's that I'm okay with that. Like I'm content where I am in terms of that right now. If this is a building block for something later in my life where I meet somebody that can better fulfill what I want, that's phenomenal. That's if it gets better than this, what could like that is awesome. That's amazing. But I'm okay with it being the way it is now. Like I for whatever reason, maybe it's getting beaten down, beaten down so frequently by so much of like dating culture. It got me to this point.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but like and yeah, maybe there's a degree of it that's a little sad, but I don't think of it that way. And to be perfectly frank, I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit what anybody else says about it, because I know how I feel, and I know that how I feel is very good about it. And it's been a great couple of months.
Mm.
So
Yeah,
it's been fun.
and even in my life and in general, there's a fine line between saying everything happens for a reason and just in complacency, basically, and like justifying your complacency.
Sure.
Obviously,
Yeah.
there's you have to take time, like often, to step back and and think about, all right, am I happy with where I'm at, or am I just being complacent and just like, all right, everything will work itself out? When in reality, I
Yeah.
should be taking a more proactive way in influencing things. And I know that I've struggled with that in the past. Definitely, I've made my mistakes in like certain choices and career choices and stuff like that, where I could definitely have bettered myself overall. And I can say, well, if I did better myself, I wouldn't have met my girlfriend or this or that. But it's like, some of that can just be justifying what you've messed up
Sure.
with
To
too.
a
So
degree.
it's a balance.
To a degree. Yeah. I mean, to a degree, you have to. I mean, that's life, right? Our life is that series of. I guess you could say it is a series of justifications for what happened. But I think that's how the mind works, really. That's that's how people cope with horrendous, horrible loss. To go back to talk about my friend Will's comedy show.
Hmm.
But that's like not that he's doing any like justifying or anything like that in the show, but like in the sense that like I mean I guess you could even just track it down to like people are really good at like looking and finding patterns in things. So I think taking it with a grain of salt is a certain degree. I think there's a proactiveness that needs to be there, but I think that still, despite that, I still think that like um I feel like as long as you're always working towards a goal of something, um then then even if it fails, like that happened, that's a path that's maybe closed off. Maybe you need to try harder, or maybe it's not worth it, and that is a lesson that you can learn to try something else.
Hmm.
And that's just talking generally. That's not even talking about relationships. That's just generally
Yeah.
speaking. So,
I just try to tell myself there's
yeah,
always opportunity for more like you can always be introspective and like just
yeah,
stop and reflect and um like people say live life without regrets and things like that, but I really don't. I acknowledge I have a lot of regrets in different aspects of my life, and maybe that's not a good thing, but I think it's important to look at like I could have done this better. I literally like it wasn't out of my hands. It wasn't like sometimes there are things that are out of your hands and bad things happen to you, but then these certain
mm,
things, yeah, I definitely I could have went a different way and positively affected my life. So try to take that and use it for the future. You know.
right. And that's something that like I've been sort of encouraged to do through a lot of like what I've the people I've encountered in the last because it's not even just the not even just the talents themselves, but like other people and stuff have just been like a general encouragement to my uh to my activity, to my like passions, like certain like I I have so much photography. I take pictures on my phone all the time of like landscapes and stuff, and I've shared like none of them. I used to be really into sharing it, and then I just sort of got backlogged, and then just haven't for a long time. But just more recently, like I started sharing them like a little bit here and there on some Discord servers, and started sharing some of that on like a Discord server and getting really positive like reactions to it. So like I think feel like that's something that like I want to just continue pursuing. I feel like more motivated to be more like actively fit. I know we talked about that like back in the new year.
Mm.
I haven't really had the opportunity to implement that yet, but that is something that I'm really like, yes, I'm going. That is happening this year. Like that is, it's not even it's not even a thing that's like, oh, I'm still putting it off. It's like, no, it's happening. Like it needs to happen just for my own like mental health and my own like physical health. I feel like I just want that to happen for myself, and um, yeah,
Yeah.
just generally stuff like that it's been pretty good.
Hmm.
So you
And I
got
mean,
deep.
yeah, we did. Speaking of reflection, we want to get into some of the Tarqaron content from the
It's a
past
decent
month.
segue. It's a decent
A
segue.
little bit of reflection. Were these mistakes? Were these
Okay.
videos mistakes, or were they not?
Were they
Your judge.
mistakes? Who's to say? Who's to say? Well, I'll tell you what. Some of the Black Mirror episodes feel like mistakes, but
Well, so it's interesting when I go back in my solo channel and look at videos. There were videos when I look back, and at the time I was like, I was not feeling it during this video. It was like I might as well not put it out. I didn't really add much to it. It was like I just felt the need to put videos out. I have like over 1,000 videos on that channel, so it's
mm,
inevitable. But on Tarkron, I don't feel it as much. You know, I look back at our last month. I think they're all pretty good. I'm
all
pretty
straight
proud of
bangers right
pretty
there.
proud of what we put out. So like ever since the last episode of the podcast, we had the Survivor Panama review, which is great. Almost an hour and a half going into that season, real in depth, and I'm not gonna be mad at that. Survivor Panama was a great season for us. So,
It was. It was fun. Had a good time. That's for sure.
and then we had
That's for ding dang sure.
we had a couple videos that were like almost a pair, which were the 3DS and Wii U retrospective, and then what we want from the
Hmm.
next Nintendo console. And I thought they both were good discussions as well.
Yeah, they definitely were. I good times. Good times had by all. Um,
Those videos, like once they're done, it's like I don't feel like there's anything we missed there. You don't really need to elaborate anymore. They're just kind of one-off videos, and I'm fine. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I like that. I like that we were able to sort of pair those together. That was my idea, by the way.
Well, I don't
um,
know. Well, mine.
but I just
I wanted the next Nintendo console. That was my idea.
The 3DS and Wii. I was talking about the 3DS and Wii U
Oh,
retrospective was
pairing
my
that one
idea.
together. Oh, okay.
Yes,
I
yeah,
meant
pairing it
pairing the
together
two
with.
videos back to back, like
Oh yeah,
movies.
oh yeah. That was a good. It was a good idea. Um, because yeah, I mean, I just it's nice to just have retrospective about stuff that we love, and I mean, it's an era. It was the era where we me and you connected during. So it was
Right.
during that period of time. So
And so it's interesting. Just in this past month, we had the Panama Review, which was the end of Survivor that season. We had the start of the fourth season of Black Mirror, and we had the start of our Harry Potter series.
yeah,
Um,
there's a lot of new beginnings
so
in over the
actually,
course of the last month.
yeah, the first four episodes of Black Mirror season four, and then the first four Harry Potter movies now. So
Yeah,
we're well
yeah, kind
in.
of wild.
Obviously,
We're
four
good.
out of six episodes for Black Mirror versus four out of like 11
11 or
for
whatever we're
Harry
doing.
Potter. But
11 plus, yeah. Yeah, it's a big commitment. I mean, I think that it's fun though. I'm having a great time so far. I've been really enjoying it quite a lot. Um,
it is fun.
I think our
Mhm.
discussions have been really fun so far.
They have been really fun, and it'll be cool to just immerse ourselves for in this world for like a couple months, and
Mm,
we're gonna have some fun videos at the end of the series, wrapping it up too. And then once we're done, I'm sure we'll be taking a nice long break from movie series because that's like a big load to take on. And then it'll be nice to, because as much as we do like the movie series, it does kind of constrict our schedule in a sense. You know, like our schedule's
I
packed
bet.
for like the next months of like already set what we're gonna do. And so once we're done the
Yeah.
series, we'll be able to free it up a bit and get a little more creative what we're gonna do. But we had Dubs back for the Gents Challenge video. It was nice.
That, that we did. It was a nice lengthy meaty discussion.
It was a fun discussion
And
where Alec
yeah.
had come up with some excuses for why he was only a gent, not a supreme gent. That was a fun little back and forth at the
Some of
end
them
there.
were some of them were related to what I talked about today. That's some of the reasons. I'm
Mm.
watching streams all the time now, man. I can't help it.
That's not an
That's a
excuse though.
prior. It's not an
With me
excuse. It's
saying
a
I was
terrible
binging
excuse.
Survivor seasons, I
I
could
was
not
binge.
stop
Yeah,
myself.
I could not stop myself. I'm sorry. No, that's it. You're right. It is a terrible excuse.
Mhm.
Um,
And then
but
we had the Super Mario Bros. Movie.
that's what I was gonna say. Mario Brothers movie, baby. It was a rip roaring good discussion. We had a lot of fun talking about that movie. I still have yet to go see it again, but I really want to. I might try to go this weekend again,
Mm-hmm.
just to do it,
Yeah, I
just to
think
do it, man.
we might actually see it 2 days from now when we're recording this on Saturday. Might go see it with our family, with like my nephew and my mom, Sue.
Oh, that's gonna be great. My parents were down visiting my one of my nephew's first birthday was this past week.
Mm-hmm.
I think on Tuesday. I don't remember the exact day. I think it was Tuesday. Um, but my dad took my nieces to go see it, and he said it was a lot of fun,
Mm-hmm.
which is good. You know, a grandfather taking his nieces to go see a fun,
Yeah,
silly movie. You know, that my dad loved. My dad loved this movie. So, he was looking. I think he was looking for another excuse to go see it too. So, um, yeah.
we had
So I'm
some.
glad. Hmm.
Sorry. What were you saying?
I'm saying I'm just glad he found he get to go see it with them. I think that's really great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, we had some great videos this month. I think it was like solid, and like a lot
Pretty
of
much, yeah.
fun discussions. Like, and all of our Black Mirror reactions. Like, I have to go through and edit them all, so I know when they're good or not as good. And I felt like all these were pretty solid reactions. Like we had some. It's always nice when you have fun little bits that we have throughout the episode, or that we make fun, poke fun at, or get like big visceral reactions to stuff too. It's like we had that in these few episodes, the good and the bad. The whole spectrum.
Yeah.
Like we had from episode 1 to 4, we had two of the highest and two of the lowest. It's all over the spectrum.
running the whole gamut of human emotion in these reactions. That's for sure.
And even in the lowest, the lower ones, we always have fun with them. You know, I remember Men Against Fire, one of the lowest episodes, still was a lot of fun reaction. So,
Yeah, you can say that again. Yeah.
and if everything goes according to schedule, then we might we'll finish Black Mirror season 4 and maybe have the first episode of the next Survivor season by the next Tarqaron podcast. So it'll be interesting.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah, we'll have to see in that regard, but yeah, I mean, overall, very very fun month, very good month.
mm-hmm.
Wow, I just realized I was like, wow, I never talked about the Whaling Museum. I didn't talk about PAX. I could have talked about those things on this episode.
Well,
but no, no. I guess we're not. I guess we're not though. No. Have to catch those at some other point in my life.
Yeah. All right, so let me read some comments that we got. You know, this is a fun little segment that we can throw in at the end of each Shark Round podcast to read out some comments.
Yeah.
I don't remember if I read this one on the last podcast or not. It was right near the cutoff. But on the Coliseum Tarqaron 20 questions video where we found out we're going to be doing the Harry Potter series, Rusty commented that he's Harry Potter movie review hype. Cannot wait to hear you guys review each of these. Going to be a great time. And yeah, we're well underway.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had, if you remember, on Survivor Panama, in the finale, when Shane asks them to pick a number between 1 and 1,000,000, I think. And
yeah, something like that.
Aris picked 4, and we had heavy criticism for him on that because you can really just cut him off on the side. But Survivor 1234 comments, just to defend Aris, he knew Shane's favorite number was 4. Aris correctly guessed the number, but Shane just lied what the number was. Well, from what we saw and what you mentioned, I couldn't quite see it when watching it back, but you said it was something like 444,444 or something. Potentially, yeah. He did something like that.
Yeah.
But you know, I don't know. It's always hard to tell. They did this on Borneo, and Greg voted. He said it was a random number, so you never really know if that was for sure what determined it or not. But
yeah. 4. 4 is your favorite number.
Favorite number. And then also on the Panama finale reaction, Brandon Hawk commented, "Thank you for being the only Survivor reaction channel on YouTube." That's right. I'm proud of that.
That's right, baby. That's it. Yeah, it's actually funny that you mentioned that because that was like a weird appeal to that sort of niche that we were both like that could be fun. That could be cool. Like I'm no like, yeah, we need to be a reaction channel. Like I'm not like really. I don't watch a lot of reaction content. That's like not my thing. But I thought doing it myself sounded like a lot of fun. Because like I like when I'm watching stuff, I like goofing. I like I try not to be over the top about stuff because like I just like having my genuine actual reactions and stuff because it's fun. It's fun to just play around and goof around and have fun with your friends while you're watching stuff. So yeah.
And my like inspiration was the fact that like I would watch a Survivor episode and I would look it up and like there's no reactions to these episodes. I do watch a lot of reactions to like TV shows and stuff. So if I see these big moments, I'm like, I want to see what people thought of it or the reactions, and I got nothing. I'm like, geez, there's a whole market there. That's
maybe fear of CBS might be where some of it comes from, I guess.
Which,
but
if I did upload them to YouTube, they would get blocked instantly. I remember trying that once.
Yeah.
So that's why I had to put them over on Vimeo, which hopefully that'll be a good solution long term. Because I think we do get a lot out of it. Like even I myself will go back to some of our older Survivor reactions just for fun to watch. Us watching it, you know, it's fun because you're not only seeing your reaction to it, but like our banter during it and fun moments that come from that. And it's like I feel like the Survivor format is actually fairly conducive to reactions because it's like you get to see like big moments and like, oh, this person just got voted out, and then we have the discussion too. So you get the best of both worlds. And when we first started doing Survivor stuff, it was season reviews. So we would be online on Rabbit, which we used to watch to sync up watching episodes together, and
What
we
a
binge
classic
through
day, man.
the first 4 seasons. We were just binging through seasons together. We would watch several episodes like every time we got together.
Yeah, we'd like hang out and be like, all right, let's do it. And we watched like, yeah, up to like some like 4 or 5, sometimes 6 episodes. Like we were like hammering through them because we just had fun. It was fun time to do.
But I do feel like there's a lot you get out of like being able to talk about each episode and break it down, because
you remember it better.
When I look back, yeah, like the first 4 seasons are more of a blur for that reason,
Yeah.
And I can literally go back from season 5 to season 12. I can go back and pinpoint like, or what did we think about this exact moment, this episode, and it's cool.
Yeah.
Chase Ferrier commented under Survivor Panama review. His season rankings, if anyone cares, LOL. All right, and this is
here you go. You're getting your publicity right here. Here it is.
This is a hot what's the word? Hot take.
It's a hot take.
There it is. Hot take. Hot take.
It's a hot take. Ooh.
Let me start from the
hot
bottom,
take.
which isn't as hot a take. It's Thailand at the bottom, then Guatemala, Africa, Marquesas, Vanuatu, Australia, Panama, Palau, Borneo, the Amazon, Pair Islands, All Stars, number 1.
Wow. That whoa.
And he also changed the name of Pearl Islands to Pair Islands, so that's another hot
Pair Island. I like the Pair Islands. That's great. I love that. Wow. Okay. Yeah. I can't say I agree with you. It's an interesting take. My parents talked about. They sort of talked about stuff that they liked and didn't like. All Stars was like I think they were like the same, like, man, that sure was cursed at the beginning with all that stuff going on. It was like, yeah.
Yeah.
But they did like the fact that, like, I don't know, they were really, I think they were really into the Rob and Amber relationship, as was everyone. That really was the toast of the town, so to say.
So I commented, I do care, and I love this. Would love to see more people's rankings along with us. And All Stars as number 1 is bold. He said, I realize it's not a very popular opinion. Rob and Amber's story just really interests me, as is Rob just controlling the game and pissing everyone off. And the pre-merge is really fun outside of a couple issues. ...
Yeah, I can't really disagree with you there. It didn't vibe for me as strongly as some of the other seasons, but
yeah,
I do. The Rob and Amber
Pair Islands is right there.
I love those Pair Islands. That's the best.
Pearl Islands is still head and shoulders above the rest. Not a sponsor, head and shoulders, but
Pair Islands is a sponsor of this video.
Yeah, the thing I've never gotten that a lot of people really love Palau, and it's never really resonated with me in that way, because he's got number 5 out of 12. He's got it above Panama, Australia, Vanuatu, or Marquesas. It just hasn't. It's never been that for me. So I don't know whether there's a disconnect for me there, but
Palau. Is Palau? Remind me. Palau is the is Tom. Yeah, Tom's Dom.
Ian.
Tom the Dom.
And Stephanie and Bobby John getting decimated.
Getting destroyed, yeah. Yeah, because I think, one of the reasons why I don't have it as high as some other ones is just because it's not really fun. The first half of the season is not really fun to watch.
Right.
It's just...
We've been pretty lockstep, and most of our opinions have been pretty similar. Maybe it's like just a consequence of us watching them together. It might be more likely to be the case, but
maybe we've definitely differed with Black Mirror at times.
Yeah,
so
one of these days we'll have a season where it's like, I love it, you hate it, vice versa, something like that. But he also ranked the winners, which isn't as much of a hot take. He's got Richard in order from top to bottom: Richard, Tom, Brian, Chris, Vesepia, Tina, Ethan, Sandra, Aris, Danny, Amber, and Jenna.
Yeah, that's pretty.
It's pretty similar.
It's pretty accurate. Yeah. Yep.
Richard Hatch at number one. It's always tough, you know. It's like, how can you ever
Mm.
say that his game was worse than others when he like kind of created the game, you know?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah,
So it was
for
hard.
sure.
And then someone else actually commented, Random Rex 6 with his season rankings.
Oh,
Best
we're getting a lot
list.
of this. Okay.
Pearl Islands on his list, number one. Vanuatu, number two. This man, he's after my heart on that one. Borneo, Panama, Amazon, Africa, Australia, Palau, Guatemala, All Stars, Marquesas, Thailand. Marquesas is criminally low in my opinion, but other than that, it's pretty cool, pretty good list.
Yeah, yeah. Marquesas is a good season. That's one of the ones that I like. I feel like, yeah, I need to rewatch that. You know.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I do too, because as much as I know I liked it, it's like hard to pinpoint specific stuff. You know, I know
Mm.
the famous purple rock draw that got Pascal out of the game, and stuff like that, like Sean Rector and Rob Mariano, and
Mm.
Sean and Pascal's relationship, and then Vesepia coming out for the win. You know,
Yeah.
but
Good stuff.
yeah, there's more there. And Hunter
Yeah.
Ellis is in that season, who's like he hopes
Oh
they all
yeah.
die or whatever at the end. Who
Hopes
was
they all
like
die.
pissed.
Yeah, yeah.
And his
Yeah.
Random Rex's winner rankings are Chris, Rich, Sandra, Tom, Tina, Vesepia, Ethan, Brian, Danny, Amber, Aris, Jenna.
Ours pretty low. I mean, I
Aris
think
all the
ours
way
was low
down
on
to
ours too, but
he was pretty
yeah.
low.
Yeah.
It seems people are in agreement. Jenna is the worst so far.
It was. I mean, that was like a wet fart to a wonderful season, in my opinion.
Yeah,
So,
she literally
it's,
like gave up immunity at one point and then was like wanted to quit at one point.
it's so bad. Oh man.
Yeah, imagine like how much that season's elevated. If Rob Cesternino just managed to pull out that win at the end.
Yeah, would have been amazing.
Yeah. Someone commented
Yeah.
on our Tarqaron Cars video a very cryptic comment that says PROMOSM. I think it's a spam comment, but you know, maybe there's something there.
Maybe just maybe there could be something there.
Like so confused by it. It's like the letters spaced out. PROMOSM.
ROMOM. Prosum?
Promosum.
Promosum? Promotion? Is it trying to say promotion? That's weird. I don't know. That is a cryptic comment. That does sound like a spam.
Yeah. So, and then our what we want from the next Nintendo console video, my brother Krillin Ball Z commented, Iwata would have never let happen what happened to the Virtual Console erasure. We all know it. Also, to tie into Alec's trophy system tie-ins idea, they don't even have to go physical with the tie-ins. Let gold or platinum achievements come with a specific player icon or, God forbid, theme. Because why are there only a white and black theme and that's it on the Switch? Themes need to be implemented like the 3DS or even PlayStation/Xbox do.
You know, I agree with your brother. I think that because the way gold and platinum stuff works now is that you can use the points to redeem player icons and stuff, but you have to like specifically go and spend them to do that.
Mm-hmm.
It's so, and you have to like, I don't even think you can't even navigate on the Switch itself. You have to do it online on a computer. It's so like weird and backwards, and I don't understand it. Like,
Yeah.
man, just let me do it on the Switch. It makes no sense that I can't do this on the Switch itself.
An idea of my brother's that I've always agreed with, I've always thought it was cool, is he always said that they should do, even on the PlayStation 4, if you beat a game, you get a theme for it. That would be really cool.
Yeah, that would be a nice little reward. Yeah,
like
it's sort of like
touch.
It's kind of like with like you think of like certain games where you get like the splash screen at the end, or like you think like Metroid where you get different screens depending on like how much of it you complete. Like you do stuff like that too, which would be fun, you know.
It would really incentivize you, like even if you made it like
Yeah.
if you get a platinum, then you get a theme that would be like really nice, like all these random
Yeah.
obscure games you could just have a theme for on your PS4 or Switch or whatever. Yeah,
Hmm.
this is definitely not. It's definitely like a spam comment or something, but I think it's funny on what it's commenting on. Their name is the Recaps Movie Zone. They commented on our Parasite review. They said, "This is awesome, and I hope it will happen to me one day." Yeah. The events of
I'm pretty
Parasite.
sure. Yeah. Yeah, I hope that happens to me someday. This is awesome, and I hope it happens to me someday. No, you don't. That movie is depressing in a good way.
Relatable. Relatable.
Relatable. Hashtag. I hope this happens to me someday. Oh boy.
A few more comments. Dubs. So Many Oreos commented on what we want for the next Nintendo console. Also, he said, "I'll admit I'm planning on buying Spyro Reignited again just to have it on the go. By far the best gimmick they've ever had for a console." So, I mean, it does it.
Agree.
It does it for some people. That's enough.
Yeah, I agree. Having it on the go. So I just got my physical versions of the Final Fantasy Pixel Remaster. I got the Switch version, and the reason I got that, I can have all the Final Fantasy games on the go. That is the reason I bought it. I forwent trophies. I'm just gonna rebuy it on PlayStation at some point, anyways. If I really want the trophies for these games, but I really wanted the ability to play all the Final Fantasy 1 through 6 on the go. I think that's great.
And like 2D or retro style games are always, you can't go wrong on the Switch. For sure.
Yeah, so they're gonna run. they're not gonna have a problem running on that console. So yeah.
Is your Switch running? You better go and catch it.
Better go catch it.
All right, and Rusty commented on our conclusion to the mid-representation gents challenge with Dub's video.
Huh.
He said, "Well done, literal gents. It's a shame to hear about Epic Mickey though. I still haven't gotten around to playing it, but I imagine I'll have similar feelings to Alec when I do. Maybe I should skip the first and go straight to the second. Eyes emoji. Also, while I have no plans to get the platinum in Digimon, I did recently unlock my 100th plat in Kingdom Hearts. It's been a while since I participated in a Gents Challenge, and the next few months are looking much better for me, so I'm excited to give the Gents Challenge another try soon." Well,
I saw he did that. He announced it on their Discord, the Otaku Brothers Discord, and also on Twitter, and I congratulated him both places because I'm happy for him. I've already platinum Kingdom Hearts, but I know he was sort of dreading aspects of it. But I was like, man, you got this. You got this. I was encouraging to him. I was like, you can do this. It's important to you. I feel like it's a milestone game. Your 100th. I feel like that's important, and yeah, I'm glad he did that.
Which I will never get. I will never get my 100th platinum. I don't know how many I have. It's like 6 total.
Yeah, I've got like 12, 13 something. I don't remember how many I have. I don't remember how many I have exactly. I don't keep. I'm not as like vigilant at keeping track. I would like to join the hunt as much as they do.
Right. I love the thrill of the hunt.
The thrill of the hunt for those trophies.
It's funny you mentioned Epic Mickey's at the time. I didn't even remember that. Like, oh yeah, there was Epic Mickey 2, The Power of 2.
Yeah,
I don't know how
which
that was
I think
received.
I don't really either. As far as I remember, Epic Mickey 2 is like a musical than the first one.
There's like a
which
co-op
I think is
option
strange.
to it, right? That's the whole.
Yeah, it does. Yes. Yep.
That would be interesting. Ooh, someone comment. I didn't even see this. This is a hate comment. We don't get hate comments.
Oh hell yeah!
No.
Let's see. What do they say? We don't get enough hate comments. That's true.
That's a good one though. On episode 14
nice.
Survivor Panama, Wambulance.
Oh boy.
Graffiti 19 commented.
Graffiti?
Graffiti.
Oh, okay.
Do people actually waste their time watching two ding-dongs commenting on an incredibly stupid TV show? Haha, get a real life and actually do something yourself.
Yeah! I love it. I love it.
How did you even find this video? It's not just like a hate on reaction videos. Like, they also think Survivor's a stupid TV show. They're just, how'd they end up here?
Yeah, okay, so how'd you find our video? Who brought you here? How were you brought here? Why, if you hate it so much, why are you wasting your time commenting on it? You apparently clicked on the video to watch two ding dongs talk about a silly TV show that no one talks about. But
look, you lose me when you call Survivor a stupid TV show. Get out of my face.
Instantly.
Get out
of here. Get out of my face.
You don't know what you're talking about.
You do the finger wag.
Yeah, like Alicia Calloway.
Alicia, that's right. Yeah, that's great. I love that. I love it. As I said early in this episode, I really just don't care about what other people think about me. So that I care about what my friends think about me. That's a lot more important to me. I could give two tugs
on a rug.
No, do you know what the phrase? This is a phrase my friend Josh taught me. He read it in a comic book. I don't remember what comic series, but it was two tugs of a dead dog's cock.
Oh.
But yeah, I couldn't give that for a.
I wouldn't give it for anything.
I mean, I wouldn't give it for anything either. But so I absolutely, that's how little I care about what other random strangers think about me on the internet. So
our last comment for the evening, we had some good comments so far, but our last comment is on the crocodile episode of Black Mirror, and it's from Gear is Awesomer. She says, he or she says, I liked this episode, but I do think the events spiral farther into the absurd than needed to showcase the point of the episode. On the other hand, the absurdity of how exponentially worse the situation gets each time was entertaining, so I don't fault it too much. Right. Yeah,
I mean, I'm sort of like in the middle. I'm kind of in the same position. I think that's why I put it where I did. Because I think that like there's a degree of it that I like the fact that it was as wild and kind of wacky as it was, but at the same time it was sort of like it was a little too much, maybe, you know. But good stuff.
Well, thank you for all the comments. That was fun.
Yeah,
had some good ones there.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Any comments?
And thanks for
any comments that aren't like completely bigoted or racist will be read on the podcast.
Yeah, we do have to draw a line a certain somewhere. Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
We'll read your hate comments.
No tolerance, zero tolerance for that kind of stuff here. So, yeah.
Just in case you were thinking about it.
Yeah, don't you even.
If you're thinking racist thoughts, don't even tell me about them.
Yeah.
Right. Maybe reevaluate yourself.
You should check yourself before you wreck yourself.
Well, that too. Thank you for watching or listening to this episode of the Tarqaron podcast. Wow. We didn't know what we were getting into, but we got there. We
talked for like 45 minutes to an hour about like relationship stuff, which is like I didn't expect to do that. I'm not gonna lie. I thought it was like maybe gonna mention like, oh yeah, I went to the tax and museum and some other things. That sort of like came up like when I just sort of started thinking at the beginning of the episode about it, but it was fun. I like tangentially moving on to something like that. It was fun, and it was like it's personal to me. Obviously, it's personal to you, and sometimes it's nice to just to clear the air and be a little open and honest. And I've been feeling more like doing that recently, which is another thing. Also, I don't tend to think of myself as a very closed book. Like I will talk about a lot of stuff with other people, but like I feel like I've been a lot more vulnerable with like my emotions and just talking about them with people recently. So, yeah, I mean, it's good. It's good to talk to you about that sort of thing. So, yeah.
It's always good. It's good to be open, or like to open up about certain things when if it could be helpful, sometimes therapeutic in some ways. And also don't be the person, don't be that guy who spoils everything, regardless of how many times someone tells you to not spoil things.
So actually, originally when you were bringing that up, I was thinking about bringing up VTubers then because my Oshi likes to tell a story about when she was playing like RuneScape or like Club Penguin or something and spoiled the Harry is spoiled like the end of Half Blood Prince to somebody,
Mm.
and it was like the first time she experienced like, oh, I thought everyone knows this. Like what? And then she made people extremely upset because she spoiled the ending of the book. She's like, how does it not? Everybody why did everybody should know this? I know this, so it's like, no, that's not how it works.
Right. And I mean,
Yeah.
and in regards to the Survivor stuff we talked about too, is like that's another like it hurts my heart when I've had definitely a few times where I like forgot that I didn't watch the episode live and I forget and I go on social
Mm.
media and it's like boom plastered. I'm like what the
Oh
heck?
yeah.
And it just it's so rough to watch the Survivor episode knowing who
Yeah.
gets voted out. That's like all you're building up to. And I remember, I did reactions for season 41 solo on this channel way back
Mm.
when, and there was one of those episodes I got the outcome spoiled for. It was like, all right, well, way to
Oh
spoil.
jeez.
Would have been a good reaction there.
That's kind of rough. Yeah.
So, all right, well,
Take the good with the bad.
thank you for joining us. If you enjoyed, subscribe to our YouTube channel, subscribe to our podcast feed, like the video, leave a comment, and like we said, we'll read it in the next episode if you do.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So, yeah, hope you enjoy it. It's now out in the open out there. If about me and my current hobby.
It's all out there.
It's all out there. It's all out there for the whole world to see. I mean, technically it is. It's on twitter.com.
We lay
So
our arms bare for the world to see. We are humans. We are men. This
we're
is us.
humans. Oh my gosh, I almost said I need to touch grass, but I literally am outside every single day working. I just have to wear long sleeves, so I'm like, man, I'm white. Jeez, man.
Man, I'm white.
Freaking,
tell you what.
man, I'm a white out. Yeah, let me tell you what, I'm white. I'm whiter than the whitest white you know. All right. Thanks for being here. We appreciate you. So, oh yeah, this is our thing.
Thank you.